Welcome to Own the Chaos. The stock market is crazy and chaotic.
And crash. You son
Oh, God. Hold on. Pause.
Brad and Fat Man Zoom are here to help you own it.
They were targeting Wall Street when they should have been targeting Capitol Hill. They should have been targeting DC. This is the same thing, and this is what people keep missing.
Taking it to the suits, being relatable and hilarious.
You bought GameStop at 400, didn't you? To the moon, baby. To the moon.
Get ready to own the chaos in 3, 2, 1.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Own the Chaos. My name is Brad. The stock market is crazy and chaotic, and I made it my mission to help you own it. It is Monday, March 28th, 2022, and I hope all of you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. I hope you're having a great day. Just to give you a heads up, today's show has been brought to you by WeTrade HQ. We have trading bots now. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but go to WeTrade HQ. Don Fran, I see Don Fran showing up in the stream as well. What's up, Don from the Don Fran Show? Don has constructed one himself. Go check it out over at WeTradeHQ.com. We also have dividend bots as well that is a little bit more conservative, but these are automatic trading bots. So if you guys are working throughout the day, you don't have time to look at the screen and make your own trades, but want something that still does very well, and we've seen a lot of these outperform the market as well. You have all the control. You can turn it on. You can turn it off. You can do all of that good stuff. Go to WeTradeHQ.com. Sign up for your bot today. Go check it out. It's great stuff. So, guys, unbelievable day in the market. It's been weird. We saw a little bit of a sell-off, and then we saw things come back. And so we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about weed stocks. Tesla's got some news as well. All kinds of other things to chat about. But, guys, before we get into anything, you know I didn't forget about you. Let's get to the starting five. We got Tiger's Edge, Slacker Ted, Tracy H., Jeff Ponica, housekeeping. You guys are our starting five. Thanks for showing up early. If you guys have not been a part of the starting five ever in your life, it's probably because you didn't hit the subscribe button and you didn't hit that notification bell. So make sure you're doing that, as well as hitting that thumbs up on your way in the door. I certainly would appreciate it. I'm having like a crazy hair day. It's a little all over the place. It's windy and snowing out, which is bullshit. It should not be snowing this time of the year in Maryland. I'm over it. I'm over the snow. What the hell? I mean, it's almost April, people. Let's get with the program, Mother Nature. I don't know if you guys have been experiencing some unseasonably cold weather in your neck of the woods, but I'm over it. Over it. Couple things I want to get to before I get into the topics for the day. I got a lot of good stuff on the docket, by the way. We're going to get into some balance sheet reviews of some stocks that a lot of you like, and you might not want to hear what I have to say about them. So, we'll get into that, though, especially revolving around cannabis stocks. And it's going to be really important to know what to look for if you guys are looking to invest in cannabis. As we, hear about the legalization of it. The vote is on the floor today. I don't think we had an official word on that. I was looking to try to and hitting refresh here to see if we get official word on the legalization of weed on the federal level, which is big news. And that's really exciting. But it's going to be important to know which ones they get into. And I actually only have one that I really like. But we'll get into that as well, and what to watch out for if the one that I like isn't necessarily the one that you like. So it can help you make the decisions more clear for you on cannabis. Where in Maryland am I? Ask Alex Johns. I'm in Baltimore, right here, right in Harbor East. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Harbor East in Baltimore, pretty nice part of town. Joshua Tillman. Is that like Tillman's Island, Tillman? I mean, you're in OC, closer to the Eastern Shore. What's up? I do have some Maryland peeps in here. We haven't done a shout out in a while, or a roll call in a while. We should do that. We got some more people rolling up in here. But guys, again, it's good to see you. I appreciate you being patient with me last night. But we are here talking about all kinds of stuff. Now, the first thing that I wanted to get into, that hit the headlines here obviously is Tesla. Tesla came out with news today on the vote on a potential vote for shareholders to vote on for a potential split. So they want to increase authorized shares in order to do a split yet again, in order to make the price more attractive for retail traders. And as you know, we've seen how retail traders have reacted to stock splits before, and really kind of to just any kind of positive news to Tesla, right? Things go crazy. I don't look, Tesla is going to be fine as far as, where it's headed. I think it's definitely one to own. It's starting to turn into one of those stocks to where it may not be the best of best interest for most people to just trade it, right? I think owning it is going to be the best way to go about doing it. This stock split news will be interesting. The stock's trading at around $1,100 right now. Let's take a look at the chart here real quick. So is this big news for Tesla, and is it too late to get in? So I think I tried to answer the second part of that question with is it too late to get in? I think that you just own it. I don't think that there's, any timing this thing because it's nearly impossible. I do own this in my long-term account. I don't own it in our Chaos Crew account, which, by the way, if you guys want to be a part of the Chaos Crew and get a daily watch list from me every single day before the market opens. And just to give you a snapshot, today's big winner was Microsoft, and it went absolutely apeshit, which we'll talk about in just a second. But Tesla, obviously doing extremely well today. I don't know if chasing it today is the right way to go about doing it now that it's up 7.5%. The last time this went through a split, the stock did go crazy. Let's take a look at we'll look at the weekly chart real quick, just to kind of give you an idea. So last time they announced a split was back in June of 2020. It was right around here. So we saw it move up, and then obviously had a really big move going into the announcement there. It was July. So yeah, July here's the move. So this is the monthly or weekly chart rather. You obviously saw a monster move. This is post split numbers here. Went from 191 all the way up to 367. But then what happened afterwards? I mean, the split took place, I believe it was the end of August, if memory serves. I'd have to go back and look. But you can see that it shot all the way up to $500. Again, this is post split. So pre split, I believe that was somewhere around $1,500. Somebody fact check me on that. But then we saw a huge sell off. So can we see another run up like this this time around? I'm not sure, and maybe that'll depend on whether or not we see what kind of split it is. Is this going to be bringing it back down to levels of around $100 a share, or are we going to see more of a slower run up, slower grind? I think the answer probably is somewhere in the middle. I think that there are going to be times where we see a bit of a pop, especially if they come in and announce that it's going to be a much bigger split than maybe that was anticipated. Maybe they go for a 10-to-1 split, brings the stock down to around $100, $110 a share, as where it would close right now. If it was going to close right now, it would be around $110 a share. So that would be very attractive, obviously, right? But if they go even further than that, let's just say 20-to-1, you're talking $50, $56. That would be crazy. $55. That would be crazy. And I think the stock could go kind of nuts then. But we saw after the split took place how volatile Tesla actually was. And remember, there was positive catalysts involved in that. I think that you look at sorry about that. Sorry about the chime there. I think there is going to be I just lost my train of thought. I hate it when that happens. And now I don't have anybody here to remind me where I was going. But nevertheless, I think Tesla is going to be one that you own. I like that Don says that you have time. It says the answer is the split is in October. Yes. So we don't know exactly what the split's going to be, though. So I think that's the big key. So maybe that's what gets the stock moving. I would say that today is not the day to buy. I would wait for it to come back down to maybe around the $1,000 mark and see where it goes. Buying these stocks like this, stocks like Tesla, are always good ones to look for on red days, and not necessarily when it's up 7.5%. those are my 2 cents on it. I think that obviously, as we know, it doesn't change the company fundamentally. And we look at the reactions from Google and Amazon after they announced the split. And I actually thought that Amazon was going to move much more than it did on that split news. I think Amazon's moving right now for a lot of other reasons. The stock's finally back to green on the year, which is pretty impressive given the amount that it had dropped off. But it's not moving because of the split. Maybe we'll see some movement on that leading into the actual split, which won't happen until maybe around June. So maybe as we get closer to that date, we could see that move up. But I'm not quite sure that actually happens either. We'll see. I think maybe for something like that, it happens after the split because it's going to be more available. More people, retail traders are going to look at a number that's not $3,000 and rather it's going to be around a couple $100, which makes it much more palatable to own. So even though it doesn't make it actually any less expensive, it just looks less expensive. Yeah. So, and to be fair, look, this isn't a Tesla channel. So if you guys want to have more in-depth conversations on Tesla, I would suggest maybe you just hang out with one of those guys. But I refuse to just make an entire show about Tesla. As much as I love the company, I just can't be like all those other guys. It's just not going to happen. But yes, the vote's supposed to be in May. There is speculation that October is when the split may happen. It's going to be whatever it is that they vote on. I don't know what the split's going to be. We can speculate. Let me know what you guys think. What would you like to see Tesla split? Yeah, you could go to Don's channel. Don do you still do Tesla Tuesdays, Don? Just out of curiosity. But Don is definitely your guy. So go to Don Fran Show. I'm sure he'll be talking about Tesla either today or in the very near future on this. But yeah, there you have it on Tesla. Again, this is one that, in my opinion, I think it's just one you just own and not try to time, even though Don does both, which is perfectly fine. Oh, there we go. Don says Tesla Tuesdays are coming back. I like it. I like it. Alex wants to see 20-1. I think 20-1 would be awesome, personally. Tesla at $55. That would be great. That would be great. Yeah, I know. My thing is, I can't spend an entire channel talking about Tesla. Yeah, I can attest to this. Jeff asked if Don provides coffee and refreshments on his channel. Yes, he does, actually. All right, before we get into the next topic, guys, which will be on AMC and some of the movements that it's had, the stock is up insane today, and we're going to talk about why that is and if AMC is the real deal this time around. Is it actually investable right now? I think we will find out. Interesting angles on this and what Adam Aron is doing with the company, and how the apes feel about it. However, before we get into that, let me let you guys know what the next part of the show is brought to you by, and that is the Chaos Crew. If you guys are not a part of the Chaos Crew, consider hitting the join button next to subscribe, or you could go to ownthechaos.com and sign up for the Chaos Crew there. But for $4.99 a month, you can get a watch list from me every day, every single day before the market opens. I put up a watch list of 5 stocks and give in-depth analysis, both fundamental and technical breakdowns on each stock that I have on my watch list for the day. Now, this one is a huge winner for the day. It was Microsoft. I had made mention this morning that I thought that Microsoft was going to continue to do very well, especially in a rising rate environment, and talked about the history of interest rates going up and how they pertain to growth stocks, in particular stocks in the FANG conglomerate. And Microsoft is always kind of one of those ones that gets forgotten about in the FANG conglomerates. However, it's been doing extremely well today, and really since the bottom, since we've been talking about it around $280, it's been doing extremely well. This is one of the stocks that was on the watch list this morning. At the time, it was trading around $304. You can see it's up 2.5% today, and it's been doing extremely well. I personally think that the FANGs and Microsoft is still going to go up from here. History has shown us that, And I really like this trade. I'm going to continue to hang on to it myself. I am in this one personally. And this looks like it's on its way up, and it's not slowing down anytime soon, in my opinion. So if you guys missed out on that, could be because you're not part of the crew. Again, as I had mentioned, make sure you hit the join button next to subscribe, or go to ownthechaos.com and join the crew. It's not just the watch list, though, either. You get access to Discord. You want to bump up to level 2, we do portfolio reviews in there. You also get trade alerts from yours truly whenever I make a trade. It's a really great community, and there's a lot of people that are in the chat right now that can also attest to that. So appreciate it. Thanks, guys, for being part of the crew. And if you're not, would love to see you there. All right, so getting on to AMC, stock went crazy today. Went ape shit today, pun intended. And so I'm looking at this stock here right now. Let's look at it. Where did it close at today? The market's officially closed. It closed up 45% and closed the day at $29.35. Why is that? Ask me why. Why did AMC go absolutely crazy? It has a lot to do with Adam Aron and his intentions to continue to buy up companies. So they and really AMC has been doing incredibly well. It's well up over 100% from its lows that were back earlier in the month. And it's interesting, a lot of people will attest AMC's move because of a potential short squeeze, and that may be it. Short interest on AMC is hovering around 20%, and that could be part of the reason why AMC is moving. But there is also just a lot of speculation around this HYMC purchase. So earlier this month, AMC announced it was buying a stake in gold and silver miner Highcroft Mining Corporation. Highcroft recently announced that it's completed a $138.5 million stock offering program, and then the shares of the company went up 52%. This to me is just, I don't know, makes no sense. You have a movie company, an entertainment company, essentially, that is now getting into the gold and silver industry. And if you guys hadn't been a part of the stream or tuned in last week, I had Peter Saddington on. Great guy, huge Bitcoin investor into everything crypto related. And you don't have to like crypto. You don't have to be a fan of it. However, we talked about gold and where your money would look like, what your money would look like between 2012, when Bitcoin really started to gain some traction with investors. And if you had bought gold versus Bitcoin, what would it look like? What would your money look like? Obviously, we know what Bitcoin has done, and gold has not moved in a similar fashion, but you'd actually have less money. If you bought $1,000 worth of gold in 2012, you come to today, you would not have made any money. And actually, you would have lost money due to inflation and the fact that gold has just not gone anywhere. And the fact that Adam Aron's now getting into this just makes absolutely no sense from that front. But it also doesn't make any sense because you're an entertainment company. What business do you have getting yourself into something like this? It makes zero sense. The apes like it. They're going to like everything. And this is just how it's going to roll. But I will say that this also doesn't make any sense when it comes to just your balance sheet. The company's reporting loss after loss, and then you go and spend money on something like this. It just really makes you scratch your head. And here's the other thing too. Let's take a look at some of these Form 4s. If you guys don't know what Form 4s are, these are insider buying disclosures from officers of the company. If you're a board member, if you're a director, if you're an executive vice president, if you're the CEO of AMC, you have to file a Form 4 whenever you go to sell stock of your company, your publicly traded company. Here's a Form 4. John McDonald, he's the executive vice president of U.S. operations, sold 50,000 shares. If you go to the next one, and look at this. This is all for the month of March, by the way, all the way for the month of March. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Form 4s. None of them are buys, just so you know. There's a director, 17,000. Okay. Who's this one? Daniel Ellis, the EVP, again, 50,000. Their executives are making money hand over fist over everybody. 69,000. Who's this? Steven Calerno, Executive Vice President, Chief Marketing Officer. And we saw Adam Aaron selling a shit ton. And look, I'm going to get berated by the apes, and that's fine. That's fine. I can take it. But the thing of it is that, look, I'm not telling you can't buy it. I would just say don't. If it were me, I would not be going all in on something like this. And we've seen what AMC's done, right? We've seen these pops, and then it just fizzles right out. And I have no idea what this M&A strategy is from Adam Aaron, but it makes absolutely zero sense. I mean, that's like Elon Musk saying, "Hey, guess what? We're gonna buy Alta just because I think it's a good idea." I think getting into the makeup business probably makes a lot of sense. And then everybody, imagine what Tesla stock would do if Elon was just like, "Yeah, we're gonna get in makeup business." You know what I'm saying? It just it just doesn't make any sense. Down from the Down Front Show says he's just evolving. It just doesn't make any sense. Does that mean they sold the bottom? Says Dalen C. Yeah, some of them did. But I would also argue that, I mean, Adam Aaron sold a lot at the top. Well, halfway down. Adam Aaron sold a shit ton of it. What, $400 million worth? And all of those aren't small amounts, by the way, either. So I don't get it, for one. There's a lot of VPs and SVPs that are probably not on board with this strategy. We have one buy, 11,000 from Chief Accounting Officer Chris Cox. So for me, I think that's something that I probably would just steer clear of, at least as a long term. But I don't know about anything else. Barry M asks me if I'm doing earnings. Barry asks. So I was there. I would do earnings if there was any earnings worth reporting on, but we're not really in the height of earnings season. We do have earnings coming up later this week that I think are probably noteworthy. Micron being one of them. But to be honest with you, there isn't a whole lot on earnings today. We will get back to earnings, guys. But once earnings season gets here and it's worth talking about any of them, then I will. But right now, just not happening. We do have Lucid. That's not even Lucid. It's Lucid Diagnostics, not the same Lucid. So yeah, there's nothing. There's nothing today to talk about. Tomorrow, we do have some really interesting earnings to chat about. Micron, Sundial, Lululemon, RH, Restoration Hardware. Not RNH, just RH. Restoration Hardware, Chewy. So some pretty good ones on the docket tomorrow that we'll certainly be talking about. But when it's slow like this, I like to come up with some other content to chat about. So don't worry. We'll be getting back in the earnings. Earnings season comes up in about a month. About 3 weeks. We're about 3 weeks away from the next earnings season. So, guys, it's a little bit on the boring side right now as far as earnings are concerned. Happens this time of the year. So we're just going to there's plenty of other stuff to talk about. I actually have more to chat about as well that I'll be putting out in some pre-recorded content. So be on the lookout for that. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and get that like on as well. Do I think that Tesla will be denied the split as Bodie Beard? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The split is basically a done deal at this point. Nancy Pelosi is in Micron. Well, then that means that's bullish. Dave & Buster's has earnings. Yeah, Dave & Buster's does have earnings, but I don't think that's really anything that anybody is really necessarily all that crazy about. I'll keep an eye on it. If it actually makes any kind of moves, I'll certainly chat about it. But if it doesn't do anything, I'm not really all that interested in it. All right. So there you have it. There's my thoughts on AMC. I just can't get down with it. You know, like I said, if you want to own it, okay, fine. But if you really think you're going to just continue to stick it to the shorts, I got news for you. You're probably not going to win. That's just the truth. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it goes to 100K for you. I just don't see that happening, especially with all the debt. All right. So before I get into the next topic, which is cannabis, as now that's going to be legalized. Well, we hope it will. It should be. Yeah, for sure, Claudia. Oops. Says the AMC calls paid today. Yeah. Um, so just getting into some of the stuff before we get into the cannabis topic. Struppinell asks, how did I make money before I got into trading? Good question. I worked for a financial firm. T. Rowe Price was the company that I worked for. I worked in 401ks and 529 college savings plans. That was my bread and butter. And that's what I did before I came on the YouTube. It was a great job. Loved the people there. Loved the company. Just wasn't for me. Just wasn't, didn't feel like I had a purpose enough. Didn't feel motivated to be there. This, however, is a blast. I love it. I love the shit out of YouTube. And I love being on YouTube. And I love hanging out with you guys every single day. So that's one of the reasons I made the jump. It was a huge leap of faith, but I would say it's working out. Snookeroo says, what are F1 race? Yes. Formula One race was wild. Man, I thought for sure Charles Leclerc was going to pull it out. He did not. And then, man, it's going to be an exciting year, I think. If this is how every race is going to be, I think it's going to be an exciting season for sure for Formula One. If you guys are interested, I actually have thought about creating a channel surrounding around Formula One. If you guys are interested in that, let me know. I haven't seen one solid American Formula One YouTube channel. They're all Brits, which is fine. But I think that it would be cool. Like there's not a whole lot of competition in that space, but I think it'd be cool if I had something like that. I'm assuming you're talking about AMC. Company is fundamentally stronger, now paid down more debt. Or what are we talking about there? Give me some context. Are we talking about AMC or what? Do a video on college funding. Yeah. I could do something like that. 529 plans. They're great. They are great. Okay. Formula One channel. A couple people saying, yeah. Maybe I'll dabble in that. March Madness. All my brackets are officially busted after Houston lost this weekend. That was tough to see. But yeah, anyways, we got 150 of you guys hanging in here. Thanks so much for hanging out and allowing me to be part of your afternoon. If you wouldn't mind hitting that thumbs up, I would certainly appreciate it. And we got 48 likes. So I know that we can get much higher than that. Hit the thumbs up. I certainly would appreciate it. So, okay. Lastly, we have cannabis that is about to be voted into making it federally legal to enjoy it recreationally, medically, what have you. And so we've seen how weed stocks have made an incredible move over the span of the last week or two. I'm looking at canopy growth right now that went all the way up from $5.62 at the bottom, all the way up to $8.80. So almost 100% move there. We saw Aurora Cannabis, one of the very popular ones, from $2.89, more than 100%. No, I'm sorry, almost 100% there as well. $4.60 were the highs on Friday. Then we also saw Tilray. Let's take a look at that. I'm going to pull up the chart here, show you guys where we're at with some of these. Whoops. Tilray also had a monster move as well. 478 was the bottom just about 2 weeks ago, and then all the way up to 868. So almost 100% move on that one as well. These all popped. And then today they took a bit of a back seat. It could be because of a sell the news type of thing, or maybe there was a lot of worry revolving around whether or not this was actually going to go through. So, we saw them kind of pull back a little bit. Tilray was down 6% on the day and still falling after hours. We can take a look at Aurora Cannabis. That sold off. That's down 8%, but actually green after hours. I didn't check out Sundial, was another big one. That was a nice looking meme stock earlier last year. That was down 45 cents and then actually moved up to around 90 cents a share as well. So that has earnings tomorrow. That'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. And so had some people asking me what I thought would be a good cannabis stock to own. And this is one that I think that is a very interesting topic in particular, because they are all have one thing in common. Every single one of them have one thing in common. Anybody know what that is? They're fucking terrible. Literally every company that traded publicly in the weed space, they're all fucking terrible. Because why? Because they can't get federal funding. And even in the Canadian side, right? There's Canadian companies here as well. They don't get enough funding, and the revenue isn't there to support the costs that are incurred here. They're all terrible. This is kind of like the speculative biotech sector. It's the same type of deal. They just can't make money, and then they continue to dilute their stock to shit. And the biggest culprit here is Aurora Cannabis. The biggest one is Aurora. All they do is dilute and then reverse split, rinse and repeat, and then they completely fuck over their investors 100%. And I can't tell you how many people would shit on me because I would tell them how terrible of a company this was. There was a cult-like following around Aurora Cannabis for a very long time. But obviously you can see this. Look, this is the writing on the wall here. Look at this. This is how terrible the stock is. All right. This is them converting shares. They diluting this to hell, and to avoid getting delisted because the stock falls below $1 per share, then they reverse split, and then it jumps up to $19, whatever, and they continue to dilute. How do I know this? How do I know this is diluting? Very simple. You just go to a balance sheet. Here's Aurora Cannabis balance sheet. This is their annual report, their latest annual report. And you look into their balance sheet and you go to a very just convertible notes. That's really what you're looking for. That's convertible debt. So this is the money. This is cash that capital that they incur by selling shares of their company to lenders, and those lenders have a par value of those shares for a ridiculously small amount per share. So the amount, so by the time they already get those shares, they can sell them. Usually there's some sort of disclosure that they have to hold it for a certain period of time. Many of them do not. They can just sell them right away if they choose to. In this case, I think there's a little bit of both going on here with Aurora Cannabis, but the second that they're able to sell, usually they do. So this is in thousands. So this is 191,528. Now, again, this is a Canadian company, so this is in Canadian dollars. I already did the math for you. So 191,528, that amounts to $152 million that they are converting into shares to fuck you guys over. That's what happens. This is what happens when you get into a stock that you think is good and you don't do the homework, and then you wonder why you're left holding a bag. This has nothing to do with institutions, short selling, nothing. This has everything to do with a poorly run company. And Aurora Cannabis is that. There's not one part of me that wants anything to do with a company like this. Dilution is the worst possible thing to deal with when you're in a company like this. There's just no way around it. Dilution will always kill you, period. You see offerings. Offering is also a form of dilution, but it's at least quick and painless for the most part, right? We've seen Tesla do offerings before, right? And they're for large amounts of money, but they're very quick and painless. This is a slow bleed. This is a slow bleed of $152 million going right down the drain. And there's no end in sight for this. That's the crazy part. People will continue to buy something like Aurora Cannabis when there's no end in sight on the dilution. And this company's going to go bankrupt unless they get bought out. That's my hard lesson on dilution and getting into shit stocks like this that are up to their eyeballs in debt. And this is why we've been talking for a while now, especially in this environment where you see a rising of rates, that it's important to be in companies that make money, because not only is Aurora Cannabis now up in their eyeballs in debt, but now they're going to have to pay higher interest for that. So there's just really is no end in sight for these companies. And biotech companies do the same thing, right? You have a biotech company that makes no money, so they make no revenue. So they have no choice but to sell stock to raise capital to these lenders that are going to sell the stock. And really the person that hurts the most is you, the investor that is in this. There are some exceptions to the rule, as I always say, and there are companies out there that have been able to get themselves out of debt, or they buy back stock. Aurora Cannabis is not going to be that company for you. Neither is Sundial. Tilray is the same way. All of these companies do this because they have no choice. The only one that I think has the ability to be to have any kind of potential to it is Canopy Growth. This is a company. We'll take a look at this at the chart. Obviously, still not doing well, but it's not doing as bad as some of the other ones. The industry itself is kind of atrocious, but they don't have the same type of toxic dilution that you're seeing with something like Aurora Cannabis or Sundial, for example. Again, we can look at the balance sheet here. You don't see anything as far as convertible debts are concerned, or convertible liabilities or anything. So I think that Aurora Cannabis could be that. The other thing that Aurora has going for them is that they have the backing, the financial backing from Constellation Brands. That's a huge company that Modelo, Corona. Those are the types of brands that is under the Constellation umbrella, as well as Canopy Growth. So I think that there's a lot of a lot of safety there. And this isn't to say that Canopy is going to do well, but if I were to buy one weed stock or cannabis stock in the space when things go legal here, it'll be Canopy Growth. And this isn't to say that they won't all have these momentarily pops, but you can bet that the lenders are looking at Aurora Cannabis over the last week and thinking, we're seeing a nice little pop here. We're up over 100%. Probably time to pull the lever, sell some stock. And that's probably what's going to happen. You're not going to see that as much with something like a CGC because they're not up to their eyeballs in debt like that. All right. I know I went off on a tangent on that, but I thought it was an important topic to chat about. Okay. GRWG. I haven't looked at GRWG, but we could take a look at that later on down the road. Okay. Planet 13. Yeah, I don't know about Planet 13. Weed will never cross international lines legally. You won't be able to outsource weed from Mexico unless a big lobby firm gets involved, and maybe that happens. That's true. That's a fair point. We will be the next avocado industry. That's a fair point. It'll have to be grown here. I think so. But let me know your guys' thoughts. Am I way off base here, or did I make a compelling argument? I don't see anything on Dave & Buster's, Duke. I got nothing there. If they did report earnings, it's pretty non-reactionary. All right. Yes, Claudio's on the same page as me. CGC. XOS earnings. Let's take a look. Does look like maybe XOS has earnings out. Let's take a look. Let me zoom in here for you guys. Let's pull out the 5-minute chart, see where that's headed. XOS. So they did report earnings, 7 cents. They beat by 19 cents was the estimate. So they were expected to come in at a loss. They beat revenue at 3.3 million, beats their expected revenue by about 400,000. So pretty decent bump there. Pretty good move on that here after hours. So good numbers on XOS. I'm going back to Dave & Buster's. I've seen a couple people now ask about it. So let's take a look here. Oops. Hey, why? There we go. Stock just went green slightly. This is one that started to do well during the reopening and then kind of like obviously got pulled back significantly. But I don't see anything on this one in general. No earnings released on PLAY. Nope. That's just a preview. I got nothing on Dave & Buster's. So Any thoughts about Neo? Asks Barry. Good question. So it kind of didn't really react all that much to earnings last week. We covered earnings expectations last week, and it didn't really do much. Today it moved up 6.5%. I'm not sure about Neo. I think that it's obviously come down a lot with some of the issues with Chinese and the Chinese stocks in general. I mean, we saw Baba obviously take a dive and some of the other ones. But you're looking at Neo right now, and I think that there's certainly an advantage to owning this company as it relates to some geopolitical issues, right? I mean, China could very easily cut off some of the natural resources that are required to build EVs and keep them for themselves, which certainly would make Neo a little bit more valuable. The earnings weren't great, but they weren't terrible either. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Neo, and maybe there's some unexplainable reasons why this would go up, right? You have a lot of retail traders come in and start buying this up because of however they feel about it, and it could really start to run. But the fact of the matter is that I look at this chart and there's nothing that I like about it. This is still very much in a downtrend. There's no breaking out here taking place at all. So until that does, then I'm finding it hard to really be excited about Neo. Stock, the 50-day moving average at around 2240. And RSI is around 50, so that's not a really big deal, but we're still trading well below the 50-day moving average. I would say that until we start to break this trend and until it actually starts moving up over that, then I probably would remain away, or I'd stay away from Neo until I actually started to make some moves. Now, I know a lot of people try to time the bottoms of these things, but I don't think that there's anything that I would say is compelling me to buy them just yet. Maybe it actually starts to move, but we have to wait. In my opinion, I think we have to wait to see what happens. I think it's too early to try to consider buying this one up. God, I'm looking at Cleveland Cliffs right now. Can you believe this stock? Cleveland Cliffs has been a huge banger. This is one that was on the watch list for our KS crew members, which, by the way, if you guys are interested in checking that out, make sure you hit the join button next to subscribe. Every morning I put out 5 stocks that I think are going to be worth watching for in the market that day before the market opens. About an hour before the market opens, that's when that watch list will come out. About 30 minutes before the market opens, that's when that watch list will come out. So 9 a.m. every day, Eastern time. Put out 5 stocks that are worth watching. Not only do I give you a in-depth fundamental breakdown, but I also give you the technical breakdown on those as well. One big winner recently was Cleveland Cliffs. Came all the way to $15. This was trading at $15 per share on January 31st. And now has closed at 33.07. That is over a 100% gain. Unbelievable. Microsoft was today's watch list winner. Now that stock closed up over 2%. Really nice move for Microsoft. So we've had some really nice stocks here on the watch list. If you guys are interested in that, again, it's only $4.99 a month. It's not going to break your bank, but certainly going to impact the channel here and help support me and the content that I create. So thanks so much for those of you who are already in the crew. If you're not, again, make sure you go to the join button next to subscribe, or if you can't see it there, you can also go to ownthechaos.com. The link is in the description. We'd love to have you guys there as well. SoFi, is SoFi moving? They didn't have earnings today, did they? Oh yeah, no. Oh yeah, no. I don't think they have earnings right now. So tomorrow we do have some things to discuss. There's some pretty good earnings that are going to be coming out tomorrow that I will be, of course, giving you my reaction to. Let's take a look to see which ones that are on the docket that you should be expecting to come out tomorrow. Tomorrow we have Micron, which will be very interesting to see how those earnings shake out, especially as it relates to the semiconductor industry. I would imagine that we see some reactions from NVIDIA and AMD. So that's going to be an important one to watch. We also have Sundial, which you just talked about, Lululemon, Restoration Hardware, Chewy. So in a time where we don't have a whole lot of exciting earnings, this is actually a pretty good lineup for tomorrow afternoon. I'll be live again tomorrow at 3:45 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure you hit that notification bell, hit that subscribe. And before you head out the door, make sure you hit that thumbs up as well. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow, 3:45 p.m. Eastern time. Have yourself a great night. Bye.